Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, let's just dive in and let's start off with this tweet here from August 12th. So we did see Payment Infrastructure News post this back on August 12th, and it says 6 ways FedNow will transform the payments industry. The availability of real-time payments through FedNow will enable U.S. businesses to compete more effectively in the global marketplace, particularly with the adoption of ISO 20022 standards. Now, as we really kind of look at this, right, one thing that I do want to mention is ISO 20022, because so many people have been heavily focused on it as a price driver, and I've talked about it and why it isn't a price driver, but also it seems as though we are gearing up for some big moves to be, made behind the scenes around the financial sector, not so much in price action. We do see over here from Payment Infrastructure News again yesterday, gradually US banks are also strengthening their customer communications on ISO 20022. Exemplary from our point of view is PNC Bank, which points out ISO 20022, the new global standard in payments, can help businesses streamline treasury management. Let's think about this real quick. So this is through treasury management, streamlining it. Let me ask you all, does that sound familiar? Because if it doesn't, well, let's look over here real quick. So this is from Ripple. This is a full guide, quick guide on streamlining global treasury flows. Corporate treasuries, or treasurers, face myriad challenges when it comes to the meticulous management of cross-border capital flows, particularly in complex corridors. With access to faster, more affordable payments without tying up working capital, the time is now to modernize treasury management and business operations. Streamlining this. And it's all the same wording. Like, whenever I look at a lot of these articles or we see things happening around the world within the financial sector, specifically in the efficiencies tied to them, it all reads as if I am reading a Ripple document. Maybe it's too much time spent reading these documents. Maybe it's too much, time that I have spent researching what's happening around a lot of these major assets like XRP, for an example, with XLM, XDC, and also the companies behind them that are spearheading them and really kind of pushing forward on digital asset adoption. But to me, a lot of what we are seeing is really kind of pinned back right to DLT and blockchain technology. But also, remember, right, with ISO 20022, I said it many times. I said, doesn't matter if ISO pertains to specific tokens like XRP or not. In my opinion, ISO 20022 will open the door for digitization to be realized across the entire financial sector's landscape. We do see from Anderson, he's talking about Swift's CBDC experiments results report October of 2022. Report saying ISO 20022 will be the essential when it comes to Swift cross-border payments that includes movement of CBDCs. ISO 20022 mentioned throughout the report. And yes, as we look at this, this is standardization that is making messaging interoperable. It also mentions using the outcome of the report to shape strategy regarding digital currencies by Swift. Probably means how crypto assets can be supported in the future as well as on the Swift network. Draw your own conclusions. And recently in a video, ISO 20022 Let's Do It posted over on Twitter that in a document by the BIS, it was mentioning Swift and how ISO 20022 is supporting transactional flows of digital assets and digital currencies. This is game changing. This to me is the key that is opening the door for specific assets that are tied to networks that are ISO 20022 compliant to be realized and utilized in the global financial system. This is huge. Now, also outside of this, we are starting to see a lot of movement on the CBDC front. From Anthony Welfare, we do see a few months ago, I talked all things CBDC with Ripple CTO Joel Katz, who mentioned interoperability. That's most exciting to me. Seeing the CBDC systems be interoperable just because international payments are so expensive and the experiences are so bad with the people most harmed by the current system are the poor people. My favorite quotes, DLT XRP Ledger is built with an imperfect world. Anything which is built on the CBDC ledger can be built on the XRP ledger and vice versa. Regulators tend to lag behind. Innovation is always ahead of regulation. And yeah, as we look at the world of CBDCs, And as we look at what's happening within the DLT and blockchain side of things, everything is lining up perfectly for the world of tomorrow to run on digital rails, utilizing and underpinned by blockchain and DLT technology. And I think that as we really kind of look at the scope of things and what has happened this year in 2023, if you are actually focused on the real news, then you are aware that every single global institutional organization is looking at how we can bring about global regulations, a harmonized approach on all fronts in terms of regulations, standardization, adoption. Like everything is trying to be connected. Everything is trying to be interoperable between one another so that we don't have these islands that are, disconnected and we have fragmentation. No, we're trying to alleviate all those pain points because guess what? Without having that interoperability, we are still stuck in a digital world of the traditional past, meaning we still have the problems tied to the traditional world of finance, but we just have digital rails. So as we really kind of look at this, I do believe that, DLT and a lot of these digital assets in this space are going to be crucial to this next evolution of finance. And also recently, we've seen from Anthony Welfare, excited to be working with Mastercard on digital currency and CBDC projects. Ripple's launch of an inaugural government-issued national stablecoin in collaboration with the Republic of Palau, in addition to work on 4 CBDC pilots. The major 5 are obviously the ones that everyone is aware of, but we also do see from Michael from Mastercard, the CEO of Mastercard, we do see we're partnering with several central banks to help them research new digital currency projects. It starts with understanding what they want to achieve with this technology, then building in transparency, consumer privacy, and stability. We're working towards these goals with a new CBDC partner program with Mastercard, teaming up with a handful of key blockchain/Web3/payment players so we can learn from each other. Those names are with Ripple, Consensus, Fireblocks, and a ton of other ones. IDEMIA Group, by the way, this is a group to keep a close eye out on. They are a big group specifically tied back to some great projects within the space. But this is exciting. This is very big. This is a huge announcement. And what I've always said is that, focus on MasterCard, focus on Visa, focus on the payment networks that dominate the global financial system today. Because guess what? They are going to be the ones that are really at the forefront of mass adoption of this type of technology. And if we look over here, we can see a few things. So I scrolled down in this article and we do see CBDCs, trust, and the evolution of money. And they do mention how 93% of central banks are engaged in some form of work on CBDCs, and 4 retail CBDCs are already in full live circulation according to the BIS. But they do also mention a few things around digital currencies. They mentioned this here as well, how MasterCard is exploring the CBDC ecosystem in 2023, which I am going to be talking about this here in a second and really kind of connecting the dots because there's a lot of things here to unpack. But we do see down here to bring a greater understanding of the benefits and limitations of CBDCs and how to implement them in a way that is safe, seamless, and useful. MasterCard is convening a group of leading blockchain technology and payment service providers to join its new CBDC partner program. And Ripple is one of those major names. They even do mention Ripple multiple times in this article and really kind of accommodates them for their work on the Republic of Palau CBDC and their plans around this. And I do think that as we really kind of look at what's happening here, it's either you are paying attention or you are not. I've said this in many videos in the past, and I think that a lot of people kind of overlook it and think that's just clickbait. But I talk about how 99% of the general public is going to miss out on one of the biggest innovations out there. And I think that soon people will realize just how large of an opportunity that we have in front of us. But the problem is that by the time that they realize it, guess what? It's going to be too late. As we look up here at this image though, so they do bring up the England approach with CBDC, Bank of England, and the BIS Innovation Hub on how APIs could facilitate retail CBDC payments. Remember that that is a collaboration with Quant Network. And remember, right, API plug and play technology is crucial, especially for a lot of the networks that are tied back to Quant, including, of course, the XRP Ledger. You also have XDC on there. You have Ethereum, Bitcoin, but then you have Hyperledger Basu and also Hyperledger Fabric, which connects to Casper, Hedera, I think think Algorand's on there. There's a ton of great ones on there. Stellar's also mentioned on there. But then also you have Brazil here. And then you also have Hong Kong, you have Australia, and the United States. Now, as we look at this, like this is telling us that we are seeing a lot of movement on the forefront of utilizing DLT, blockchain, all centered out on the Web3 world with CBDCs and the digital age of finance. But what's interesting about this is the ties back to Ripple, right? Like Ripple has that proof of concept with England, with the Bank of England, the central bank of the UK, which I mentioned multiple times. Also, we know that Ripple has been expanding rapidly within the UK for a very long time. And then also, recently, going back to August 2022, a year ago now, Ripple launches crypto-enabled enterprise payments in Brazil with Travelex Bank. Remember that Travelex Bank is the first bank in Latin America to utilize on-demand liquidity, but also Travelex is the first bank registered and approved by the Central Bank of Brazil to operate exclusively in foreign exchange. Again, Ripple has been working in the Brazil area for a very long time as well. I've connected the dots with the BRICS in the past. And then also, over here, Ripple and Brazil Central Bank hold closed meeting to discuss institutional matters. This was 2020, by the way. And then in Hong Kong, recently Ripple joins Hong Kong CBDC pilot partners with Fubon Bank. And this was a huge one because this is all centered around CBDCs, how we can implement them around tokenization, specifically with real estate, which is a global $300 trillion asset class. And I do think that everyone should pay attention to the breadcrumbs here because the world of finance is never going to be the same. In the next couple of years, we are going to see major movements happening around the financial sector. And also recently, Ripple did post this video on August 9th talking about Hong Kong and how they have a high concentration of developers and blockchain related investments. We're excited to work with innovative businesses and financial institutions to move, manage, and tokenize value within Hong Kong and throughout Asia. Check this out.
My name is Kiri Bhatia. I'm the head of international business development for Ripple, which includes the incredibly dynamic region of Asia Pacific. Hong Kong is a very special place for me. It's where I've had pivotal moments in my career and also where my children were born. That's why it's really exciting to see the growth and adoption of crypto here. Hong Kong has always been one of the most important and bustling financial centers globally. Today, it is also one of the biggest cities per capita for developers and for blockchain-related investments. That's why Ripple's work in the city is so important. We're working with businesses and financial institutions to move, manage, and tokenize value. We're now working closely with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority to pilot a CBDC project tokenizing real-world assets on Ripple's CBDC platform built with the XRP Ledger technology. With forward-thinking regulators and the momentum around crypto development, it's truly exciting to see what the future holds in Hong Kong.
So there you guys have it, right? Like entire areas around the world are now embracing this technology. They are being fully disrupted by it as well. And I do think that this is just the beginning, like what we will see over the course of the next couple years. And I always say over the course of the next couple years because I want you guys to understand that things take time like this. But guess what? In such a short amount of time, we have seen major updates, specifically around the global approach to crypto regulation, standards, you name it. And it all happened in the last roughly 8 months, right? Specifically around the FSB, with the BIS, the IMF, and the G20. They are moving very fast. And we know that a lot of the global events that are happening that mainstream media is constantly spewing towards the retail sector, all of that is to accelerate this push. It's the very same way that the pandemic was utilized to push digital currencies, digital finance, because guess what? Paper money now has germs on it. It's dirty. Can't utilize it. Don't want to utilize it. So now we need to push for, digital currencies. All of this has been accelerated. Today, we now have problems with the BRICS. We have problems with the BRICS expanding rapidly around digital currencies. What do you think happens next? We are going to have a global harmonized approach to embrace this technology. We need standards, we need regulations, we need the infrastructure in place to accommodate for this, but we are already seeing all of that happening in real time through the FedNow service. We have the FedNow service launching in the US, which we already have, which is embracing faster payment technology. And a lot of the names that are tied to that, the service providers like Volante, for an example, are also working with Ripple, and they've already spotlighted Ripple within the ISO 20022 area of being the first company that is fully engaged through DLT. So as we look at this, right, like I do believe that Ripple is a major company to focus on. XRP is also something that I believe is a pillar for the future financial system. I've talked about it heavily on this channel for years now. And the reason I do is because I know the power and potential behind it. Even in the Mastercard section, if we scroll down and we look at Ripple, they even mention XRP yet again down there because Ripple is leveraging XRP and the XRP ledger because of the efficiencies behind it, and also how XRP and the XRP ledger was specifically created and designed for what they are utilizing it for, meaning moving value as fast as possible, settling it as fast as possible, bridging money. This is the significant power and potential behind XRP. And I do believe that as we see these CBDCs launching, because CBDCs are a real thing. I don't care how many people want to say it's a conspiracy theory, it's this, it's that. Listen, go and look at what the Federal Reserve is saying. Go look at what the BIS is saying. Look at how 93% of central banks are already engaged in some sort of work on CBDCs. We are going to see this rise. With this, we are also going to see tokenized currencies, tokenized assets, tokenized anything of value as well. And how are we going to settle all of this? We need bridge currencies. We need decentralized bridge currencies that nobody can control. XRP is one of the only true ones that have been around for long enough to trust, and that has also been tested in major areas, specifically in POCs with central banks like the Bank of England, for an example. So as we look at XRP, it's tried, tested, it's true. We know Ripple has been engaged for well over a decade with some of the largest central banks out there, some of the largest regulators. There is zero doubt in my mind that as we see this new financial system becoming a reality, Ripple and also XRP are two crucial pieces of the puzzle. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. It's been Nick. Peace out, guys.